So last week we set up a meeting to discuss developing a project for the mound, and the reason was that having fought for nearly 2 years to keep this valuable piece of green infrastructure for the good of the community, and having fought with developers more than once, we gained a victory last October, and we actually saw the developers' appeal turned down this February. And then we'll see the developers returning with a new application this spring. For anyone who's new to this conversation, this development is a 17-storey private, which acts as an important buffer zone between Claypit Lane and the rest of the estate. It's the site of 51 mature trees, and it's got all kinds of potential uses for the community. We had Jill Wood participating in last week's meeting, and she's already got a forest school project on the go. And she's got a very keen interest in developing a base within the community where outdoor learning projects can take place. We thought that developing a plan incorporating different interests, different interested parties within the estate for creating either food growing, outdoor learning, tree planting on the mound would be an excellent thing in itself, but would also be a really crucial thing to do in this battle we've had with the developers that want to turn over this piece of land for a purpose which is very much to the detriment of our community. So, rather than, we've had a campaign now for about 2 years, and we thought rather than just reiterating no monster block, we don't want this, this is a bad idea, it'd be a really good time to start putting forward some positive proposals for the mound. Especially if anyone read the inspector's report about the mound, it was denigrated as a piece of low quality wasteland, and the inspector talked as if creating a massive big private development was the only possible opportunity for it. So anyway, last week we got going on some ideas, some initial ideas. We had a really useful discussion. Firstly, we had some excellent news from Abigail that Leeds City Council has terminated its contracts for the land with the developers. Something which makes the private development, well, as far as we know, unimplementable for the foreseeable. This was a huge boost, and it means that developing the mound for the good of the community is now a real possibility. It's not going to be, hopefully, a castle built on sand. Then we heard from Jill from Little London Primary School, who talked about the development of a forest school project within Little London Primary School, which included the purchasing of raised bed allotments on the school sites, etc. She also, expressed a keen interest in this project and talked about how it'd be beneficial to have a school project right within the heart of the community that people could, witness and contribute to and all be part of. Little London Primary School, it's a key part of the local community. It helped to bring everyone together. Then Darren came in, who talked about his community kitchen garden project. This is a scheme that he's got centred in some allotments in Woodhouse. He raised the idea of getting the mound registered as a community asset. I think this is something he's already investigated in relation to his own project, Community Kitchen Garden. He thought it'd be a really useful way of securing the land for the community. And he talked about perhaps involving volunteers in this project and from wider afield, bringing us all together as a body that could, could put forward this proposal for an asset transfer. Then Lee came in with some very useful know-how. He talked about some of the technical hurdles that we might face if we were to undertake such a project. Getting the mound registered as a community asset. He talked about the process of applying for this asset transfer and how, some of the key aspects included questions such as how is the land vested? Is it, vested with housing, highways, parks or communities? And apparently these can have some really important impacts on, the process and how easy it is or how difficult it is. And he also drew our attention to the various streams of community funding and offered help to provide help and support with this process as we need it. So it was a really useful discussion we had last week about developing a community project for the mound. something that will bring people together, young and old, with Little London Primary School hopefully at the centre of this project. We kind of brainstormed a few ideas about food growing, forest gardens, learning, etc. And I thought maybe today we could, develop upon that conversation, and hopefully we've got some more learned authorities here today from Leeds City Council who may be able to, help with some of the questions which were raised last week. And I circulated a draft agenda, just a suggested agenda, and I thought we could maybe this week, consider our ambitions for the mound in more detail. Maybe, try to draw a bit of an initial plan. I thought we could find out more about the legal and technical requirements of getting the mound registered as a community asset. I thought we could maybe consider some initial steps, such as maybe conducting a site assessment and involving the local community in some sort of a starter project. We mentioned last week a possibility of things like holding a litter picking day, something to, just set our stall out and, make an initial step. I thought today we could also, start working out some sort of a division of labour, who's going to be involved in this project and on what basis. Maybe we can consider some of the practical aspects of such a project and what it would entail, things like certification, volunteer policy, etc. And I think the most important thing today really is to get something started. Maybe we could set some dates, agree on some action points, decide on some important initial first steps.